Are you prepared for a disaster? This question isn't meant to scare you, but to make you think. Disasters, whether natural or man-made, can strike at any time. The key to survival? Preparation. One of the most crucial aspects of disaster preparedness is securing a long-term food supply. It's not just about having enough food, but having the right kind of food to keep you healthy and strong. Remember, the choices you make today could save your life tomorrow. How well you prepare now can determine your survival later. The first step to preparedness is understanding the basics. When we talk about a long-term food supply, we're not just referring to a few cans of beans and a bag of rice. No, we're talking about a carefully curated collection of food items that can sustain you and your family for an extended period of time, potentially months or even years. It's a bit like building your very own grocery store right at home, but with a much longer shelf life. Now, it's essential to grasp the difference between short-term and long-term food supplies. A short-term food stash is what you'd lean on during minor disruptions, like a week-long power outage or a brief period of inclement weather. These are the items that you'd typically consume within a week or two and then replace. On the other hand, a long-term food supply is for the big stuff, the scenarios that keep preppers up at night. We're talking about major natural disasters, prolonged power outages, or other significant events that could disrupt the food supply chain for an extended period of time. This is where you'll need food items that can last for years without spoiling and still provide the necessary nutrients. A common misconception is that a long-term food supply consists only of bland, unappetizing items. That couldn't be further from the truth. It's crucial to consider dietary needs, allergies, and preferences when building your food supply. If you're gluten intolerant, for example, you'll want to stock up on gluten-free options. If you have a sweet tooth, don't forget to include some long-lasting sweets or desserts. After all, comfort foods can go a long way in boosting morale during challenging times. The goal is to ensure your long-term food supply is as diverse and balanced as your daily diet. Incorporate a variety of proteins, grains, fruits, and vegetables into your stash. This not only ensures a balanced diet, but also keeps mealtime from becoming monotonous. Remember, your long-term food supply should be as diverse and balanced as your daily diet. Choosing the right food is crucial for building a long-term food supply. It's not just about stocking up on whatever is on sale at the supermarket. It's about selecting items that will last, provide necessary nutrition, and of course, taste good. Let's start with canned goods. These are a staple in any long-term food supply. They are durable, easy to store, and come with a long shelf life. You can find a wide variety of foods in cans, from vegetables and fruits to meats and soups. They're ready to eat, which can be a lifesaver when cooking options are limited. Next up are dried foods. These include items like beans, lentils, rice, pasta, and dehydrated fruits and vegetables. Dried foods are lightweight, compact, and can last for years when stored correctly. They require some preparation, usually boiling, but they give you the flexibility to create a variety of meals. Then we have freeze-dried meals. These are a bit more high-tech, but they offer some significant advantages. Freeze-dried meals can last up to 25 years unopened. They are incredibly lightweight and compact. Plus, they are often designed to provide a balanced meal with carbs, protein, and veggies all in one package. And the best part, just add hot water, wait a few minutes, and your meal is ready to eat. But remember, it's not just about longevity. Nutritional value is paramount. You want foods that will provide the energy and nutrients your body needs in a crisis. Look for foods high in protein, fiber, and vitamins. Avoid items high in sodium and preservatives. Lastly, consider taste and familiarity. In stressful times, comfort foods can be a real morale booster. Choose foods that you and your family enjoy eating and can easily prepare. This will make the transition to your emergency food supply smoother and more palatable. After all, the goal is to not just survive, but to thrive. So, when building your long-term food supply, choose wisely. Choose foods that you and your family enjoy eating and can easily prepare. Stay safe and empowered. Discover how to be disaster-ready with my ebook, Are You Prepared in the Event of a Catastrophe? Proper storage is key to maintaining the quality and longevity of your food supply. Now imagine you've got an arsenal of food, all primed for long-term storage. But where do you keep it? The conditions of your storage area can greatly affect the lifespan of your food. Let's dive into the ideal conditions for your food storage. First up, temperature. It's a bit like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Not too hot, not too cold, but just right. Your food storage area should ideally be kept at a cool and constant temperature, around 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Be mindful of heat sources, like furnaces or sunlight, that could warm up your storage area. Next, light. It's simple, really. Keep your food in the dark. Exposure to light can degrade the nutritional value of food and increase the risk of spoilage, so consider storing your food in opaque containers or in a darkened room. Humidity is another factor to consider. High humidity can lead to moisture buildup, which is a breeding ground for mold and bacteria. Aim for a dry storage environment, ideally with a humidity level below 15%. Now, let's talk about rotation. You've probably heard the phrase first in, first out. It's a principle used in businesses to manage inventory, but it applies to your food storage too. Simply put, use the oldest stored food first. This keeps your food supply fresh as you're constantly rotating and replacing what you use. Remember, your food storage is not a set it and forget it kind of thing. It requires regular checks and maintenance. Look out for signs of spoilage like changes in color or odor. And always check the seals on your containers. Proper storage not only extends shelf life but also ensures the food remains safe to eat. And that's what we're all aiming for, right? A safe, long-lasting food supply that's ready when you need it. So take the time to store your food correctly. It's worth it. Maintaining your food supply is an ongoing process. Just like you can't set and forget a garden, you can't stock your pantry and then ignore it. It's important to regularly check your food supply, and even more crucial to rotate it. You may be wondering why the need for rotation. Well, even food with long shelf lives can't last forever, and the last thing you want in a crisis is to find out that half of your food supply has gone bad. So, how do you rotate your food supply? It's simple. When you use an item, replace it. This way, the oldest items are used first, and your food supply stays fresh. But rotation isn't the only aspect of maintenance. You also need to keep an inventory. This isn't just a list of what you have, it's also a record of when you bought it and when it's expected to expire. This way, you can easily see what needs to be used soon and what can be kept for later. Plus, it makes shopping easier since you know exactly what you need to replace. Now, updating your inventory might seem like a chore, but it's a vital one. After all, it's not just about having food in a crisis. It's about having food that you can actually eat. And it's not just about having enough food, it's about having the right kinds of food. An inventory helps you see if you're lacking in any particular area. Maybe you have plenty of grains, but you're running low on proteins. Or maybe you have enough food for a year, but it's all the same thing. Variety is important, not just for nutrition, but for morale as well. In conclusion, maintaining your food supply is about more than just stocking up. It's about regularly checking your food, rotating it, and keeping an inventory. It's about making sure that your food supply is not just adequate, but optimal. Remember, a well-maintained food supply is as important as having one. Building a long-term food supply doesn't happen overnight. It's more like a marathon than a sprint, requiring patience, consistency, and a dash of strategic thinking. Start with a simple step, buying extra items during your regular grocery shopping. This doesn't mean clearing the shelves, but rather adding a few more cans of beans or boxes of pasta to your cart than usual. Slowly but surely, these extras will start to add up and form the backbone of your long-term food supply. Now, let's talk strategy. Sales and bulk purchases can be your best friends when building a food supply. Keep an eye out for discounts on non-perishable items. When your favorite canned soup goes on sale, buy a dozen cans instead of just one or two. And don't forget about those big bags of rice or beans. They're usually a lot cheaper per unit than smaller packages. Remember, it's not just about quantity, but also variety. A well-rounded food supply includes a mix of proteins, grains, fruits, vegetables, and comfort foods. So diversify your purchases over time to ensure you have a balanced diet. Also, consider your storage space. If you live in a small apartment, you'll need to be more selective about what you buy and how much of it you store. Building your food supply over time makes the process more manageable and less overwhelming. It's about small, consistent steps that lead you to a more secure and prepared future. Preparing for a disaster is a proactive approach to your safety and survival. Today, we've discussed the basics of disaster preparation, from choosing the right food to proper storage to maintaining your supply over time. But there's so much more to learn. For a deep dive into the world of disaster readiness, consider checking out my ebook, Are You Prepared in the Event of a Catastrophe? Stay safe and empowered. Discover how to be disaster ready with my ebook, Are You Prepared in the Event of a Catastrophe?